Hello and welcome back to the Green Footwear channel. Today we're going to be having a look at 5 unique custom boots from our custom boot builder rack this week. Please note that our custom boot builder will be closed from the 1st of November 2024. All existing orders placed before this date will still be manufactured and sent out this year. However, orders placed after this date will be put into production after the 1st of February. The first boot from the custom rack this week is our Shoi in our natural veg retan material. This boot also makes use of a frog grip sole with a leather midsole and a resin runner. This spec has also gone for the traditional ASHM last. Some further specs of note is that this customer has opted for some green laces on his Shoi, a thermoplastic toe puff, along with brown stitching and brown number 10 stitching, and also to not include any embossing of our gym green frog. This pair of Shois is going to be turning heads in Bellingham, Washington State. Our second boot from the custom rack this week, and a rather interesting looking one, is our African Ranger in our Afrique material paired with a rough out black toe cap, heel counter and eyelet facing. This custom boot spec is also paired with our Kalahari sole, a leather midsole and a resin runner. This customer has also decided to go with the JG last, along with keeping the thermoplastic toe puff in the toe cap of the boot. Some other design specs applied by this customer to their boot is that this African Ranger has all eyelet configuration, along with some nice white stitching and white number 10 stitching all around the boot to make it pop just that little bit more. Another important spec that is not seen to the eye is that this African Ranger is double lasted. This means that it has 2 layers of leather surrounding the foot. This pair of African Rangers is off to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Our next boot on the custom rack of this week has us looking at the Numan boot. This custom spec is done with our fudge material on the toe cap, eyelet facing, collar and heel counter, but is also paired with a rough out fudge on the vamp and tongue. This boot makes use of a leather midsole with a resin runner, and it all comes together with the JGN lug sole. This custom spec has gone down the traditional route with the Numan boot and stuck with the ASHM last. Our final spec to take note of for this custom pair is the eyelet configuration. One can assume that this customer is looking for a little bit more foot clearance into their boot, going with 3 eyelets and 3 speed hooks rather than the stock standard 2 speed hooks that are found on our Numan boot. While on the topic of getting your foot into your boot easier, this customer has also gone for the added pull loop on the back of this Numan boot just for that extra assistance in the mornings. These 2 warmer tones, when put together, come together to tell a nice story as a pair of boots. Sticking with the traditional Numan build, this customer has opted for to be double lasted. After receiving the final product of this boot, one of the specs that really did stand out to us here in the factory is the red stitching with the fudge leather. This boot is trailblazing all the way to Newport, Wales. The next custom spec has us looking at the oldest style in the Gym Green range, our Razorback. This custom boot is a steel toe cap Razorback in our khaki suede material paired with the JG5 lug sole. Since this custom spec is a steel toe cap double lined leather midsole boot, it's going to be on the rather heavy side, although it's going to be able to take a beating and look good while doing so in the field. We can also tell this customer has gone for a more subtle look to their Razorbacks, as they have opted for the brown laces and brown number 10 and upper stitching all the way around the boot. This custom pair of Razorbacks is built up on our STC last. Sticking to the traditional Razorback, this customer has opted for it to be double lasted, meaning 2 layers of leather around the foot. Just like our previous set of custom boots, this pair is also off to the UK and is off to Worcestershire. Our final boot of this week's custom rack of the week has us looking at the AR8 boot in our Houston brown material on the vamp, quarter and tongue, which is also paired with our Houston green material on the heel counter and collar. This boot all comes together with a leather midsole and resin runner and our EVA and mini lug sole combination. When we received the order for this custom spec, we were really excited to see the final product, especially because of the two-tone leather choice this customer has gone for. A few points of note is that this customer has gone for the JG last on the AR8, along with some olive stitching on the number 10 and around the upper. This customer has also gone for a 4 eyelet and 4 speed hook configuration, allowing for more foot clearance and easy application and removal of the boots after a long days out. Some further specs that have been removed from the stock standard AR8 is that this boot does not possess a steel shank and there's no toe puff in the toe cap of this boot. This pair of AR8s is off to Clifton Forge in Virginia. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the Green Footwear channel once again and to the custom boot rack of the week. Please go ahead and subscribe, like and comment on this video, and for those of you who don't know, we are currently running a giveaway on our last week's video which features the African Ranger done up in the famous Halloween leathers. We recommend going ahead and checking that out and seeing how you could win yourself a pair of those. Enjoy the Gym Green journey ahead and see you all next week.